You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 248 of East Central and its favorite podcast. I say that because right next door is Brian Nichols' show, and well, I think we're the best. I'm Jeremiah Morrill, and today I'm joined by the guy's got a list of jobs right now. Executive video producer, executive audio engineer, and co-host Zach Burcham. Welcome, buddy. Patrick, I'm going to have you mute your phone or else you're going to drive yourself insane.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. Zach, what are we doing tonight, man?
We're going to introduce the recorder candidates. I'm going to find out what the recorder does. Because I'll be honest, I've seen the signs.
There's a lot of people that don't.
I've seen all the signs around town, and then there's going to be a little bit of food and beverage tax talk because there's a little bit of action on the food and beverage taxes this week.
It's gotten to be an exciting topic this week. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh. But hopefully you'll always learn something new, like what the hell a recorder is. And I promise to make you laugh. I'll make fun of Dakota or Zach or somebody, and we'll have a good time. This episode is brought to you. The special candidate series is brought to you by Wyland's Flowers, the Slick Pickle, and Big Bounce Inflatables. We appreciate their continued support of the candidate series. I think this is they may have supported us every cycle since 2018. We've been doing this for a while.
We thank them,
and they jump in and help us out. And if anybody needs flowers, some chauffeur service, or a bounce house, check those guys out. Also need to thank the patrons that help us get on the air every week, particularly those at $50 or more a month. That's Christy Avery. She does the Norwex thing, and we're using all kinds of Norwex cleaning supplies around the house now. Jonathan Phillips of Andy Moore Buick GMC over in Fishers, and Anthony Meyer who delivers memes and food across the country. He's an over the road truck driver who doesn't. This is the highlight of his week. Is listening to us talk to candidates.
We kick off the weekend if he catches on Friday or if he's watching live on Thursday night.
I hope he's not watching live. That would actually be very troubling.
You might be done for the day.
Rolling down the road with 40 tons of whatever.
Well, Big Brother's very specific on how much he can drive in a day, so he might be done for the day.
It could be over. Although I'm going to be honest, Anthony's not really doesn't really strike me as a rule follower.
Potentially,
in theory, but we do have to thank the patrons for getting the show on the air every week. We had a fantastic Patreon scheduled. It's not at all what we anticipated, but I think we all learned something.
Sure,
and we had fun.
Yeah,
and we longed for what it would be like to have chips and salsa, but we only had half what we needed.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dakota.
So
we appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel like I was promised.
It's a broken promise.
I was promised chips and salsa.
Welcome to politics. All right. Let's get into it a little bit. Let's have some fun with the candidates and see where things go. On my left is Lisa Loveless, and
hello.
She's you're running the first time candidate.
Yes,
running for county recorder.
correct.
And everybody we're talking to, because this is Henry County, everybody we're talking to at this point is a Republican, because that's the only contested primary that we have for those listening across the nation. And then on my right is Patrick Saunders, who's this is your first time running for a recorder, but I think you've got a little bit of political history in the past.
Yeah, been there for a while. So since I was probably about 10 years old, so I've been around it. So first time running. So
all right. So let's start with you, Lisa. If you want to give us a brief intro, tell us about yourself, your background, your history, all that jazz, and we'll start the conversation there.
Okay. Well, I'm currently a certified residential appraiser, and I work as a realtor broker for FC Tucker Crossroads. I have been married to Ben for 22 years. Graduated of Indiana Wesleyan University.
You need both. believe it or not.
The LEAP program?
It was.
Yes.
I commuted from Shelbyville to the Shelbyville campus.
Yeah. I did up at Keystone when I was doing it.
Big North Sider.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Lebanon.
Yeah. That makes sense. The LEAP program is really good.
Yes.
I never stepped foot on the actual campus until the day I graduated.
Same.
But it was really
Actually,
cool.
no, I had to go up once and pick up some books or something, but
Very nice. So you've been appraising real estate.
yes.
And I assume that meant that you interacted with the recorder's office.
Yes. Used to interact a lot more before records became available online because you had to actually go up and search things when I first started. You don't have to do that so much anymore. It's at your fingertips with public records. So,
all right. So what triggers you to say this is the office for me?
well, I worked at the Henry County Treasurer's office for a year and a half, and during my time there, I just got the bug to be involved in local government and involved in my community, and the opportunity was made available to me. So I said, sure, why not?
Jump in and let's see what happens.
Yep.
All right. And Patrick, tell us about yourself, what you do, what your background is, all that jazz.
I'm 38 years old. I've been born and raised in Henry County and Louisville most of my life. I just transitioned to the big city of Newcastle and downtown Newcastle. So most of my life I worked at Draper for 15 years and Crown and Avery Dennison. I'm currently working with Newcastle Flooring, installing and sales and advertising and stuff like that. I was on the Louisville Town Board for 8 years. So I got to see the inner workings of the government and the dealings and stuff like that. So I've been around the courthouse my entire life. I understand the ins and outs of the recorder's office. Linda's done a good job. Linda Winchester's done a good job getting things set in motion to continue down the road. So I know she's retiring and her chief deputy, Betsy's retiring, and thank them for their service and what they've done for the county and the Republican Party altogether. So I don't like to go to fairs because I've been going to county fairs my entire life, thanks to my dad. So fairs, parades aren't my biggest thing, but so I've been around for a while.
So you've grown up around all of the stuff that you have to do in politics. You're completely burnt out by it, and you're like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in and I'm going to run.
Well, what it is,
I'm going to be the anti-candidate.
I've seen, now that I've been in a factory that long and seen I want to do something to help people, be involved in the community. I used to not care for all that stuff, but the last 6-8 years, it's kind of changed my mind to see what's going on and see where the road is taking us. And I've been a precinct committeeman for 12 years, I think it is, and always tried to help out when I could. It's not something I thought I would ever do, but now it's like I feel like I need to be involved, and I want to help people. I like being involved in that kind of stuff now. So,
all right. So, Zach, you can jump in at any point if you have questions. Otherwise, I'm going to do what I did to Jesse last week and just keep going.
Go for it. I mean,
then you're going to elbow me and say, every time I start to talk, you stop me.
I'm fine. I was in gym shorts when I found out I was going to sit in this chair today. Still in gym shorts, but.
So, Lisa, we have familiarity with a lot of the county offices, but the office of recorder is probably the county recorder, the county treasurer, and maybe the auditor and clerk. Those 4 offices, we don't, as a general voter, may not understand what they do and how they relate to our lives. Tell us about recorder and how people deal with it.
So the function of the recorder is to record deeds, liens, legal descriptions. They're also going to record business license, and just keep a record of all those things. So then if that record is accurate, it's going to help then the treasurer, the auditor, the clerk, and the assessor in building their reports and doing the things that they do for each office.
If I buy a house, your office records that I own the house, or you record a copy of the mortgage there?
Yes.
And then that's how you verify that I have a mortgage exemption.
Well, the assessor's office or the auditor's office actually verifies the mortgage exemption, but we'll verify the lien and the deed.
Okay. All right. Is that represent No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically, there's not a lot of political aspect to the recorder's office. Luckily, that's another reason I kind of
Turn your mic just a little. There you go.
decided to run for it. It's not political. It's just the functions of the office. And like she explained it really well. And it's just kind of running the office, dealing with it. And a lot of it's online now. Like she said, you don't have to go into the office and deal with it. But my thing is, most of the time when people go to the courthouse, it's not a good time for them. There's something that happened in their life, or they're buying a home. It's more about being friendly, helping people when they can't. Because I've talked to a lot of people that go to the courthouse. They kind of get to run around from the auditor's office, assessor's office, recorder's office. And it's nothing against anyone in there, but they just kind of get the back and forth. Like they're not sure where to go. You just want to kind of be helpful and help them and show them where they need to go.
So what kind of a staff does the recorder oversee? Is it the
I believe
recorder and a deputy, and that's
there's a recorder and a deputy, and I think there's 2 full-time and 1 part-time employee in there.
Okay. And then I know in my attempt to learn this week, because I did apply myself, the state tells you how much you can charge for things?
Yeah, so there's the State Recorders Association that they determine the prices, the standard pricing for everything.
So if you want a copy of a mortgage deed, it's $50 or whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever it is. I don't know what the prices are. So.
Man, I'm going to mark that down. They don't memorize the prices.
I haven't got the job yet.
The county doesn't set that. And like the only good thing about the fees is some of that money goes into your preparation fund to help run the office and do that kind of stuff, whether it's extra help, part-time help, or whatever the office needs at that time. That's the only good thing about the fees that go along with that.
So
the state sets them. But
the regular citizen isn't generally looking at the document at what you've recorded. It's more as almost a historical office, so that other county officers can get information that they need. Is that accurate?
Yeah, probably. At a certain time, you used to have to go down there to find, like, if you wanted a legal description of a property, you had to go to the recorder's office to find it. Now, like I said, all that stuff is online, and the treasurer's office, the assessor's office, the auditor's office all combine those records. So if you go to Beacon, that's all there now. It wasn't before.
It made
so
the
you used when I started doing appraisals, you had to go to the treasurer's office to get the taxes, and you had to go to the recorder's office to get the legal description, and the auditor's office to get. So it was all different. You had to run all over the place.
And now you just go to Beacon, look up the parcel.
Now you just go to Beacon and download it.
Gotcha.
Yep, 90% of it's online, and it made the abstract workers a lot happier that didn't have to go travel and do all that kind of stuff. So,
what do you mean by abstract?
Basically, title searching. Anytime you buy a house and it goes in, and they have to go around and search, make sure you don't have any liens or other stuff against your property before you go to close on it. So abstract workers usually work for a title company. So like once a realtor or whoever closes on the banks, mortgage companies, they send these people out first to make sure there's nothing tying the property to where they can't sell it.
So can I look on Beacon and see if I have a lien on my property?
No, you would have to call or go to the recorder's office for that.
And that's where they'll check on it.
Yeah. So if you have a mechanic's lien or a tax lien or anything like that against your property, you're going to have to find that at the recorder's office.
Say I forgot to mow for a season or two.
You can actually get it on Docs Pop too, I believe. You can look it up there.
Okay. And is that, if I want a printed copy of it, that's when I have to pay a fee? But if I just call up, they'll tell me, oh yeah, you've got this going on?
Yeah.
All right.
I think you can probably print it from Docs Pop. I've never had to, so I don't know if they charge a fee if you print it from there
I'm
or not.
Sure on that. I know that's what
you can search on there for Docs Pop and find your find out the liens and stuff like that. I don't know about printing them or not.
All right. Were you prepared for these difficult questions?
No.
Because we can wander. What kind of a time commitment is this gig?
It's Tuesday through Friday. The current hours are Tuesday through Friday, 7 to 5.
So you're there. It's a full time.
Yes.
County commissioners, when we talked to them last week, they kind of said, "Hey, it's as much as you want it to be. Some guys make it part time. Some folks are putting more than 40 hours a week in. So, but essentially the recorder is not just overseeing the office, but you're actually doing the work.
In an ideal situation, yeah, you're going to be there regularly.
All right.
Yep, and the recorders, I think, went to the 4-day work week when they were trying to, or not the recorder, but the commissioners went to the 4-day work week when they were trying to save money and keep the courthouse closed and lights off and stuff when they were trying to save money a few years ago. So,
yeah, that's been.
I know a lot of people go to the courthouse on Monday and they're like, "Why is it not open?" But
I think we've finally gotten used to that.
Yeah,
here.
that's what I was going to say. I think most people are used to that by now.
yeah.
But it is odd. Pull your phone, your mic just in a little bit closer to you there. Yep, that you'll feel it'll go better.
All right.
Yeah. The thing about county government that's odd in the courthouse being closed is that the courthouse is closed, but the clerk's office across the street and the Justice Center is open on
Right.
Monday.
Well, and now the assessor's office is actually open on Monday at the courthouse.
Well, they're not saving much money by keeping the lights off.
No,
then.
I think that was
Unless
a
they have to
decision,
have-
that was a decision that individual office made
Yeah,
a year or two ago.
you have to like bring a flashlight in to find your way up through the stairway.
It's possible. I don't know.
Go spelunking. So I mean,
It
it's a
might
chance
feel
for
like
some.
it in the old courthouse.
It's a
I'm sure.
chance for some big promises to be made. If the auditor can just open their offices up on Monday, are we saying we're going to have access to the recorder's office on Mondays if somebody
I
wins
have
here?
no idea.
Yeah, I don't know whose job that is to promise that. Like, because I mean, I don't know what went through to have the assessor's office open on Mondays, but I do know the auditor, assessor, and recorder's office have to work closely together to get done what they need. So
Brenda Greider is reminding us all. She's the I believe she's the clerk treasurer for the city of Newcastle. That the auditor is open on Monday.
oh.
All right. What else do we need to know, Zach?
I don't know.
I tried to get them to give us a blank promise.
Yeah.
So what are you guys going door to door? How's the campaign? How's the campaign strategy for running for this thing?
I'm just kind of doing what I do, out and about, seeing people, saying hello.
You guys both have a lot of signs out. I can tell you that from.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You've seen them, so that's money.
I'm a
well
frequent
spent.
pedestrian
So that's-
all about town.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm like, man, there's signs everywhere. So that's impressive. More so than some other races.
Yeah.
even, but and all over.
more signs for recorder than anything else.
Yeah. I'm probably going to try to go door to door in Knightstown and Moreland, maybe Middletown, but I don't feel like people want people knocking on their doors now. So it's kind of I used to do it with Dad all the time. It's kind of an old school technique, I feel like, because a lot of people have doorbell cameras and they're like, what do you want? Get off my doorstep.
I'm going to avoid this guy.
Yeah. So
I've had I think 2 state representative candidates and a sheriff's candidate show up at my door
Yeah.
so far. So it is happening.
yeah.
For sure. But it's always different to hear how people approach it,
Yeah.
how it goes, how campaigning is evolving over time. Because my mailbox is full. The state representative race,
Yeah.
I've got stuff in my mailbox every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't,
Same.
I mean, I can't imagine the money that's it'd be interesting to see.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
we have-
find out in about a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have 3 voters in our house, and so we also have a PO box. So we get like 3 of everything in our mailbox, and then 3 of everything again at the PO box. We're getting a lot of mail.
You're flush with mailers.
Yes.
All right. I think we've asked all of the questions we could possibly ask for recorder.
I mean, I guess, is there anything in the future like evolving the office at all? Is there anything? I mean, like everything's kind of on the internet now. Is there just a push to keep that going, or is there anything else? Is there any further steps with making the information more accessible?
Yeah, I think what you want to do in any public office is just be as efficient and accurate in your recording and record keeping as you can be. So, and the more that's available to the public, the more transparent the office is. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And that's what, if it's on the internet and people can do that instead of going out in person and getting it, that's what they want to do. So,
With Beacon, you've certainly got a tool where you can pull an awful lot in a hurry and
Right.
and figure out what's going on. It's been really nice to see how much your neighbor's house sell for too. That's
well, and just a point here, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that people in the office aren't doing anything. Like just so they still have
it
to
gets
do.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it gets there is the people in the office. So
it's the just simply the getting there to
Yeah.
Trust me, I type on a computer all day. You'd think it'd be easy, but it still takes people to be involved. Totally understand that. Mike Broyles is in the chat, and he says that you guys are all just waiting on warmer weather.
It's eventually. It's got to get here eventually.
Sun's
right?
out, guns out.
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to have a golf outing on Saturday, and we had to move it to Sunday because it's supposed to snow on Saturday. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. So.
I'm still camping. I'm going. I'll be at Summit Lake second weekend in a row. We're tough Midwesterners.
Are you tent camping or are you in a camper?
God, no, I'm in a camper.
So you've got heat and electric.
I have a furnace. I have
auxiliary electric
heat. I have blankets. I have a mattress. I have
so that's glamping,
dogs.
Right?
Yeah, we don't suffer. And honestly, I think Summit Lake is about 85% full this weekend again.
Really?
So it's people are out.
People are ready to get out. Indiana's just our weather's not cooperating. I don't think they're just people are ready to get out. But
it could be it could be snowing or it could be 75. You don't know what you're going to get.
And at least it's not 10 degrees or 15 degrees, whatever. I mean, it's
don't challenge it. That wasn't that long ago.
As bad as
that was just a couple weeks ago.
Exactly.
Jane Burcham is in the chat, and she says this is not a very contentious campaign at all. She's very disappointed in the lack of mudslinging, the lack of excitement. It's just what we're going to do is we're going to count up the yard signs, and whoever has the most out that's going to be the winner.
I wish it worked like that a yard sign equated to a vote.
They don't quite translate necessarily.
No. Hey, and some people don't realize how expensive these things are. So, like, if you see one blowing down the road, you should pick it up. They're not cheap.
No, especially those. You guys both went for the premium corrugated. As a guy that's lost 4 elections, I will tell you that those are the Cadillac of yard signs. Try multiple color, full size corrugated. Those are the all weather signs. Those will last for generations.
You see the lesser quality signs when they're laying in the sidewalk and they've been torn, or like the metal's still there, but the sign's just like laying on the ground.
The sign's gone
because it was 34 and snowing, and the snow just stuck to it and just like melted the paper that it was made out of.
Lisa, is it harder to sell a house now with all those yard signs out? Because you can't tell. You don't know what house is for
I will
sale.
tell you, because I also sell real estate. I got a couple of calls about wanting to buy houses where my signs are. That they wanted to know if they were for sale. So.
That's just a double bonus. You just like, wow.
I mean, have you taken like the normal realty sign and just tacked your sign onto the top of the realty sign?
But maybe I should try that.
Just make them look the same.
They're actually the same color, and I didn't do that on purpose. It was an accident.
City Councilman Mike Guffey says he's seen several lying by the road, and he's going to start issuing fines to candidates, I think, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I find myself being like my dad, because I'm like, that's in the right of way. If it's not behind the telephone pole, it's in the right of way. So, but Dad's also mad at me because I bought my signs from somebody in Moreland, and he still sells for Harcourt and Melroy. So he wasn't the happiest about it, but Marlon does a good job in Moreland. So
we haven't really talked about your dad yet. He's the retiring Representative Saunders. How has he been? Is he campaign managing you? Has he taken a step back? How's this interaction?
I really haven't seen him. They've been so busy, and it's kind of, a blessing. No offense to him and my mom, but no, they haven't really. He's busy. He's got projects, flip house, getting done with the state of Indiana. And it's like I told everybody else, I go, whoever gets to be state rep will have him on the phone all the time, because he'll have people calling him, and he'll be like, well, this person needs to talk to you, or that person needs to talk to you. He'll find something to do, but it's not my campaign manager, luckily. Love him to death, but it's not.
Is he supposed to play in the golf outing?
No. I don't think he's ever played. Maybe one time when him and Beverly Gard first started the golf outing, but he's not playing.
Not even put him in charge of the beverage cart.
Yeah. He might be able to sell 50-50 tickets. That might be a good job for him, but
just trying to find some work for him.
Yeah.
Mike Broyle says the Newcastle Land Bank signs keep disappearing as well. Somebody needs to do about this wind. It's if the reporter candidates can do something about the wind that's taking all the signs down.
I think I'm on the land bank. I think our signs disappear because they get stolen. Is what it's going on with those. People are stealing them because they realize that a lot next door to them is for sale, and they're like, oh well, I'll just take it and I'll buy the lot, and then you've got to follow
if they buy the lot, then that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they can have the sign. You can have this if you want.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure. Yeah. The land bank people will be like, yeah, if you buy the property, if you want the sign, we'll give you the sign.
I don't know. They were pretty expensive. We're on a tight budget. We're not for profit.
Just tack it on when they're not looking to the selling price.
And add that $47 in as one of the miscellaneous fees.
Yeah.
And then you can record the receipt at the courthouse.
Yes.
All right. And you guys can, as citizens, be involved. I don't think the recorder has major influence on the topic we're going to get into, but you're welcome to participate in the conversation or not if you, it's entirely up to you. But the discussion has amped up, Zach.
Yes.
On the food and beverage money. You attended. You went on spring break, so you missed a meeting a month ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, which it turns out I don't think anything. I watched that meeting in hindsight because I showed up to Monday's meeting, having missed a meeting, and I missed less meetings than most of the council members. I'll say that. There's a couple that consistently miss more than I do. I miss maybe 3 a year.
Do you want to name them?
No, but if you pay attention, it's not hard to figure it out. So
they sit on the left side or the right side of the building. If I'm just looking at it.
I don't even know. I couldn't tell you the orientation.
Lisa, this is how we have fun here. I pushed everybody just to the limit.
Trying to get them to say what they don't want to say.
Yeah.
A couple of them in the chat too, but the ones that are in the chat are consistently at meetings. So the food and beverage thing comes up, and my understanding is, I bet that Mr. Broyles, the landlord, probably could catch me up because I actually meant to message him today to see if he could kind of straighten me out as to what's going on. I did watch the meeting before. Like I said, they didn't discuss this at all. So the mayor is involved with a project to try and bring a sports complex to the greater Newcastle area. I don't think it's technically in Newcastle. It's just outside Newcastle.
Henry Township.
Yeah. And total project estimated cost is like $16 million, but he's seeking $1 million of food and beverage money. I believe this is supposed to be a private deal, I believe. And I don't think that the legal structure of it was completely clear or something was. He announced a board, I think, very recently, like in the last 2 weeks. And according to what was said at the meeting, there's 2 members of the city council that are on that board who were not aware that they were on the board until after they were announced to be on the board, according to them, from what I was told at the meeting. And the city council then made I don't know if it was not the word resolution or something, where they said they will support this group applying for money under the condition that it has no financial affiliation with the city of Newcastle. Has to have a separate bank account. Everything is separate.
So it needs to be a private, non-for-profit.
Private,
and the city will say, cool.
And the city is not affiliated financially with it at all. And apparently that was, and they postponed the vote on the food and beverage money for this meeting to happen.
Thursday of last week, all but $1 million of the food and beverage money was earmarked for different projects,
except for the $1 million for this potential project.
As of last Thursday, there was $1 million that was remaining that they had asked to wait until after the city council meeting. So then they scheduled a special extra county council meeting for Tuesday night of this week. So Monday they had a city council meeting to be followed immediately by a business county council meeting on Tuesday.
Okay. So, and unbeknownst to me, while I'm sitting in this meeting, because there's normally a couple of people in there, there's like 5 or 6 of us show up to all the meetings. I hear voices behind me. And I realize that Commissioner Bobby Plummer is behind me, and so is Councilman Chad Malaco are both behind me. Chad tries to stand up and say something. He's told by the president of the city council just to sit down before they have a vote. He's then given the chance to speak later in the meeting, and he says that he's not sure if he can vote to give $1 million to an entity that's legally, he's not sure if it exists or what the state of it is or and what ownership. I'm like, there's just a lot of questions apparently as to this group. And I think that the county felt comfortable with it potentially being kind of involved with the city, but the city said, not us. And I think that that's kind of left it in flux. And I'm not sure what had happened with it, if anything's happened with it since. But he said, I'm not sure. He's like, I can't really vote for this because his problem would be that they're going to issue a bond to come up with $1 million. And he's like, then it's just going to sit in an account accruing interest, waiting for them to figure out what they're going to do. And I think that one of the hitches was there was some part of the agreement was going to be that the city would be on the hook for in-kind contributions, which would basically be city employees doing labor out there. And I don't think they even want to be on the hook for that. So that's my loose understanding. Like, I literally felt like I missed one meeting, and I was like, I have no idea what happened. I take notes.
All of a sudden, you didn't study for the test.
Yeah, didn't study for the test. And then I was like asking around a couple people, and they're like, I don't know if anybody really knew. There's some members of the council, I'm not sure if they knew much more than I did from what I was just picking up from things people were saying in the meeting. So on Tuesday night, once they went ahead with their resolution, Councilman Malacote then did bring up a proposal to award the $1 million to the city, and it died for lack of a second. So at that point, the Henry County Expo was brought back up, which had been in the application process, but did not make the short list. Yeah.
And then they presented again, and they went for about an hour and a half and went through how they got to this point.
I'm just laughing at Brenda's comment. She said she's been there and she's clueless. I'm kind of clueless. Like, I understand what he's saying because I can imagine what went on. But
I take notes. Like, somebody kind of took a joking jab at me on Facebook. They're like, I saw you on the video just playing with your phone. I'm like, you can look it up. I have a Google Doc for every meeting I've ever been to.
I'm trying to figure out what's
because
going on.
Once in a while stuff comes up, and it's helpful to know what's going on. And some stuff I can't keep up with because they're talking so fast about things. But I was like, did I miss this much? I watched it. There's no talk of this. So evidently there was not a lot of questions asked, And then literally, I'm not even going to call it the 11th hour because they asked for overtime. Like, the last 15 seconds of this whole 9-month evaluation process, a bunch of stuff came out that all of a sudden made people think, wait. And the city, I don't think, some people accuse people in the city of just, not wanting any progress. I don't think it was not wanting progress. It's scary to look at a project that was estimated at $16 million a couple of years ago, or whenever it was first projected. You don't know what that's going to cost now. And then the city council members also brought up that Grand Park is for sale because it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And then, like, a couple other of the sports parks had closed. One of them was sold to a warehouse, to a company that's going to be turned into a warehouse. And so they were like, they wanted itemized cost of what it was going to, because I think everybody understands it's not going to be $0 to a $16 million facility right away, but how much is it going to cost for every baseball diamond you add, or every soccer field you add? And and somebody brought up online, like, what about drainage? Because that's a part of the county and there's drainage issues here and there and everywhere. So they just want to know, is there a business plan? Who's going to manage this? I had the question of one of the council people said they were in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and they couldn't find a hotel room because there were all these sports things going on. But, like, okay, we have, like, I'm going to be honest, we have like 2.25 hotels here. Like, we have one hotel that's not a chain, but I would consider, like, nicer looking than Steve Alford All-American Inn. And we have one that doesn't know what it wants to be. It's been an Oyo. It's been all kinds of stuff. And then we have another one that used to be a Holiday Inn Express. Yeah. And now it's like, so, like, where are you going to put all these people? If you put this big sports complex, where are they going to stay? Like, we desperately still need just one nice branded hotel that you can book a reservation online.
I happen to know Representative Saunders was saying Summit Lake needs a lodge.
Yeah. You could put one out there, and there's plenty of real estate at the 70 interchange down there at 370. But
so
that comes up a lot too.
Yeah,
it'll
happen eventually.
So a lot of questions came up, and I agree with some of them. And I think the city was just like, you can do this. This is cool. We endorse it. We're not going to be on the hook for a chunk of this $16 million or something like that. Like, it's not going to turn into the city's expo center.
I think that's exactly what the biggest headwind is that the expo center is not completed. So you've got seed money from a previous county bond that went to that project that's not complete yet. And then if you take $1 million, you're 1/16 of the way to funding the original estimated cost of the sportsplex,
and nothing cost what it cost 3 years ago.
No.
Right? Like I think we're all distinctly aware of that. That, like, there's not anything that cost what it costs 3 years ago. Everything costs 20 to 50% more.
Yeah.
From the discussion at the meeting on Tuesday night from the county council, it sounds like just nobody put an official motion forward. They're waiting for more information to come back based on some utility issues. But it sounds like there was the appetite from the council members in their comments. It's like listening to the Supreme Court arguments going, I think this person thinks that and this person thinks that, and you try to piece it together.
No.
But it sounds like maybe they're looking at trying to get $200,000 or $250,000 to complete a portion of the Expo Center so that building can start to function. And then maybe if things turn out correctly and they get the information they want, maybe $750,000 would get us awarded to the city project potentially.
Yeah. I mean,
we don't know how it's going to
I
shake
100%
out.
agree with do something so the Expo Center is not in this current state that the Expo Center is in.
Yeah, we can't just let it sit there and rot.
Because
with
at a
that much
certain
money
point,
that's been
then,
spent.
especially if most of that money that's in that building now is taxpayer dollars that went into it, then you're watching taxpayer dollars. If it was a private investment,
Yeah,
you're just,
exactly. Yeah,
I mean,
you
like
can't-
Montgomery's sat for years half built and empty, but the
It was
city
a
didn't.
private
Nobody had any
yeah.
stake in it, so it's like that's somebody else's problem. Like I've seen houses that have taken 3 years to remodel, but if that's tax dollars, they're just going to sit there and rot because they're not covered or finished. Get that to the point, and then it'll start working for you.
Yeah.
And it can maybe start generating some revenue on its own. Is it going to be enough to finish it? Probably not, but it'll be better than nothing. But right now it's a plywood island in the middle of a mud pit. So
Yeah, I agree. You just can't leave it sit there because they've spent the money on it, and Baker Park's done so much already. Like, just finish it and try to move on. But I feel like with the sports complex, I haven't looked into it a whole bunch, but I feel like they kind of got the horse in front of the carriage in front of the horse there because, like, we have all these parks around here. Osborne Park, I know they're trying to redo, and they've got like the Little League softball trying to come into town and do that kind of stuff. It's like, it's hard to give money to something that you can't see. And then there's all these other issues we have in the county. So I don't think the sports complex is out of question, but I feel like you can't give money to that without. My old boss used to say piss poor planning equals piss poor results. So that's kind of where I sit on that. But
Yeah. I very much hope that in the conversations I heard, it sounds like there's a lot of different paths for the expo, even if they do get what they're calling phase one complete, which is the smaller of the two buildings. A lot of donors have gone into the expo project expecting a large expo center, right? The phase two is the large closed building that's supposed to be able to be used for trade show space, for livestock shows, for RV shows or boat shows, whatever. Larger conventions and proms, and that's the big grand space. I hope that once phase one is done, it picks up momentum and they're able to complete that part. I heard some chatter in the meeting of maybe just scaling it back and doing something smaller. And I would almost hope that, hey, look, we got phase one done. You raise enough money to complete the grand plan of phase two so that we don't end up with something that's just barns, so that it actually truly can serve what everybody was sold 5 years ago. That's the biggest hope I have, is that we don't get something that's scaled down just to because it'll serve some communities, but the original plan is really something that will be helpful to the entire community.
Yeah, but you look at the money the Rodeo Association brings into the Memorial Park and the county as a whole, and Newcat, like, they're staying at the hotels. You see the horse trailers at Applebee's or wherever you're going to eat. They're spending the money, so I feel like you got to finish the project in the park at least to get it. You can't leave it.
I mean, and that's a good project, I think, is it'll benefit the community. Was promised something, and the community will get something out of that. Like 4-H kids will get something out of that. A larger wedding venue in this town is like actually something that's really needed. Because if you get much more than like 100 or 150 people, you start to run real short of places in this county to go do it. And so then they get that benefit. And then you also, if like you've got it's kind of 4-H peripheral, or like the Saddle Club and stuff, if they start using it, they do bring in people from out of town, and those people spend money. And that's exactly what food and beverage money should go to.
Yeah.
Something that's not only, because I know somebody kind of brought up, they tried to compare, well, it was a different project. It was the fireworks fiasco, where the fireworks were wanting some money, and they compared it to like the Hall of Fame. I said, the Hall of Fame is the basis for the tax, but like, how many people in Henry County have been to the Hall of Fame like since it opened?
Yeah.
And it's a real small number. But like, We've had presidential candidates show up to the Hall of Fame, and we have a lot of people that come in and go to the field house who drive by the Hall of Fame, and they stop at the Hall of Fame. It has bus and RV parking for a reason. That's another thing that brings in people. And then the best part is those people are paying for stuff locally, and they're bringing the money in. So that's money coming in from out of the county. So people need the Expo Center.
And that's kind of what it's all about, is bringing money in from outside to stay in the county. It's
a tax that like we've talked about over the course of the last 4 candidate shows. I've never seen a more popular tax, right? I'm Mr. Libertarian guy and limited government, but I have never seen a more popular tax in a community than the food and beverage tax, where people are more than happy to pay. They go out to dinner, it's a happy occasion, and then it goes towards causes that generally improve the community. And I think that they're all valid projects, what they've been discussing. I think the YMCA expansion is going to be good, or the programming that's going to be out there. Yeah. The doubling of the size of the Hall of Fame is going to be fantastic. If we can ever get the youth sports facility going, I have no doubt of seeing what youth sports does across the country.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be an incredible amount of out of county plates in that. It's going to be
and that's what I didn't say earlier, is you'll bring the money in, but I feel like the plan wasn't there to invest.
There's just a lot of questions to ask. And someone pointed out, like, how's it going to be managed?
If you don't know who's going to run it and who's going to control the money,
and you do need to worry about hotels and stuff, because a lot of stuff. I mean, we know a guy who just loaded up for a dance thing and just loaded up a truck full of stuff and is going to Chicago.
Travel sports is where the money is, and I know parents that I'm like, I don't know how you spend the money doing that. And they do. They support their kids, and they do it, and they go out of town every weekend, and it's going to bring in money. I just feel like the plan to put that there is
it's a big project, and people should
get the right stuff in the community, and we'll have brand new iPads for their quarters office.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that a promise you're making?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're going to put you on the spot.
I think it looks promising.
Yeah. And that's what it's good for everybody. Revenue is good for everybody, and tourism is good for everybody. And I think people would be surprised at what the Hall of Fame brings in. They do a good job with they advertise statewide, and revenue is good for all Henry County. So
Zach Lee says he'd like to get a Hampton Inn here, but I'm pretty sure that Zach just wants to be able to book a night at the Hampton Inn to steal the soaps and shampoos. I think that's Zach's plan.
I was just using some hotel soap and shampoo just a couple days ago. Yeah, that stuff's handy when you run out of.
Hey, I feel you there.
That travel stuff.
But yeah.
All right. I thought that was important. We normally don't try to get into the issues of the day during the candidate series, but I thought this was the week that it felt like more money, more problems.
Yeah.
We don't have these arguments and fights in the community, and it's not a fight, but it's a spirited discussion. And I really do think that you've got $3 million and you're trying to figure out what projects are worthy, and
it's important to be good stewards of that money, so that we not only bring in good tourism and stuff, but we want our kids to want to come back here, not leave as soon as they graduate and never come back. Yeah. So these things are the types of things that also will attract them to come back.
And if they invested in the right thing, you're gonna have an even bigger pool 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, whenever these bonds expire, so that they can make it one more time.
And that's one thing I learned all being on the town board forever, and I preached it to everybody in Louisville, is like, don't get on Facebook and say, come to the meeting. Like he said, he was at the council meeting. There wasn't that many people there. Like, go to the meeting, express your concern respectfully, and that's how they'll vote. Like, they're representing the county. So if people show up and voice their concerns, I feel like they're going to take that into consideration. So,
all right. Well, let's start to wrap it up. What we do what's called final thoughts. And this is where we talk to each person in the room, make sure we've got everything buttoned up. We didn't forget anything. Got something you need to promote. Say you're looking to fundraise. You're looking to get volunteers. Somebody to go door to door. Somebody to work on your race car. What kind of stuff are we talking about, Patrick?
Well, there's always people to work on a race car. Like they say, the only friends you have at the racetrack are the ones you bring with you. And I feel like that holds true in a campaign. So, we're having a golf outing Sunday at Memorial Park, and hopefully it doesn't snow. The Masters will be on if anybody wants to stop out by, and we'll be doing some door to door. So if you see us on your doorbell camera, don't just run us off. So I appreciate any consideration I have on May 3rd. So.
All right. And early voting is an option already, right?
Yep. I know a lot of people are early voting, and that's why, a lot of people like that because they don't have to go stand in line. But I think with the satellite locations, you can go, you don't have to go to your home district. You can go wherever you want in the county. So
that makes it very difficult on a candidate.
Yeah.
It's tough to catch them when they start to get to vote on any day they want to, and they don't have to show up at their polling place. It's like herding cats.
Which I always kind of believed. Some people have the poll workers and some people don't. But I feel like people have made their mind up when they go to the poll. They don't want somebody shoving something in their face. They can't walk into the polling place with it. So I hope it works out, and I hope they make the right decision, and we'll appreciate any support we have.
Very good. Lisa, tell us if we forgot anything. We got you got a big fundraiser coming up.
I have not planned any fundraisers yet. I don't know if I will. So far, I'm self-funded, or been Loveless funded anyway. I'm just like my campaign strategy is just to keep doing things that I do in the community anyway. Be involved, help out, say hello, ask people to vote for me, and explain that I'm a hard worker. I'm dedicated to the community, organized. I don't know what else I can offer to the recorder's office. So
awesome. Zach, you got anything for me?
Nope. If I got anything wrong for the meeting on Monday, somebody can message me and correct me. I was asking. I was like, seriously, I was like,
somebody will correct you for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And I spoke to a couple people, and if somebody wants to talk to me about their attendance record, I keep attendance on my notes as well. So I can keep
got the receipts.
I do. It's just like, I do encourage people, go to meetings, because one of the most frustrating things in just sitting back and on social media is how many accusations go around about people that are currently involved in government, like the current elected officials, and they're lining their pockets, whatever. And then you watch, and like these people, like no matter, they could pay them more, and the amount of like complaint they get about trash toters, potholes, this and that, and a lot of times, and then we have people that are complaining about stuff that's not even something that person deals with.
I can't wait to bitch to the recorder's office about potholes. I am sign me up.
Hey, I mean, I've got a good story about that. Is one time somebody called Dad, and it was a federal issue, and kind of lit him up about it. And Dad looked up his address and went and knocked on his door, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Tom Saunders. What can I help you with?" He goes, "You sent me this email." He goes, "I don't really know what to think about it, but this is what I can help you with." What? And he was like, "Oh, you don't live in Washington?" He's like, "No." So it's just being informed. Go to the meeting. Yeah. Know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's interesting just to hear. I mean, and this week I'll thank Brenda Greider and Aaron Dickin. There's a grate that's been missing. I call it the Llewellyn Loop. It's a little loop that's in front of the YMCA. It's been missing for, I don't know, probably 10 years. Yeah. And I know because I mark off a 5K course every year, and every year I have to put a bunch of orange paint around it. Somebody else noticed it this year. It took 10 years for somebody else to notice it. They posted on Facebook. I messaged Aaron and said, whatever. That's a private road technically. The city still came out and fixed it. They found it. They tracked a grate down, and they filled it in. So now it's not, it was a piece of like kind of diamond grating that had been thrown on there, and it was like bent, and I would have to flip it over every year and dump the leaves off so you could see, so somebody didn't step in the hole when they were in the 5K, which is probably the most traffic that road ever saw because it doesn't go anywhere. But Brenda and Aaron got taken care of in like a couple of hours, and it wasn't their problem.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Is Aaron does a good job on the council, and the mayor does a good job in Newcastle. If you call him, he's going to come out and find out what you want. But don't get on Facebook and bash him. Call him or go to a meeting and find out what's going on and go from there. It's, that's where you get stuff done. So
yeah, and they try because they don't want to get complained at either.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's where, I mean, you don't want it. So
well, very good. We appreciate these guys for hanging out with us. It's not easy running for office. And putting your name forward, especially as somebody that hasn't run a campaign quite as big as what you're getting into in an entire county. It's a lot of votes, a lot of potential voters, a lot of effort that goes into it. It's for a job that's not going to pay that great.
No,
people always think you get rich in politics. And I'm like, I've grown up and it doesn't happen. So
the reason that they're running is because these guys do care about the community, and they're trying. So they're putting themselves forward. The bare minimum you can do as a voter is to research it. They're putting in the effort. Ask you guys as well to put in the effort as a voter. pick somebody to support and make it happen. With that, we will see you guys next week with candidates for Henry County Sheriff. We got a room full of them coming.
That'll be exciting.
Going to be badges everywhere.
There's going to be interesting to see.